Alright guys, you see me? Who cares? Alright, today we're going to install a under the saddle pickup on this Taylor 410CE. This is an LR Bags Element. It comes with a under the saddle pickup, does require a 9-volt battery and a volume and tone control that goes in the sound hole. This particular guitar is an out of warranty Taylor, and the pickup doesn't work on it anymore. Those are those transducer pickups, and it comes from Taylor. And it seems like the preamp is just shot. Also, this is that AA system that they did a few years back that no one ended up really liking. It didn't really take off. And it's going to cost a lot more to get a different Taylor pickup in there, so just ends up being a little cheaper for the customer to put in. There's LR Bags. LR Bags is awesome, and I love their products. They didn't pay me to say that, but they should. Anyways, I love strawberries, and my wife bought a bunch of them, so I'm helping her out. First thing, what I do, try to remove this old thing. I gotta get my new jack here, and I have to move the soldering iron out of the way. That is turned off. Alright, I gotta drill a hole right there. Typically on most guitars that didn't have a pickup, you would measure the center here and go right down the center on the center line, and you would what I like to do is drill a smaller pilot hole, like an 1/8 inch hole maybe. It doesn't really matter the exact size, it's probably about 1/8 of an inch. Then use a step bit to drill all the way through for the 1/2 inch hole, because although it's a 1/4 inch jack, you need a 1/2 inch hole. And I like to use this one and drill just all the way through. But this one will also work as well. You just got to go all the way to the end. But lately this one has become my favorite bit as far as my step bits go. I rarely get a chance to use this guy, being honest. I'm being trill with you. Anyways, those live over here. And that's the gist of it. That's what you would do if you didn't have this contraption. I gotta figure out how to get this thing out. I think I just need to unthread that jack, and so I can remove it, mount my new preamp jack thing to it, and then reinstall it. So I'm gonna cut that off and do that. Alright, I got that old pickup out of there. It's pretty easy to do. Just had to unthread that and then pretty much just unplug stuff. But now we can bust right in, and I'll show you the pickup. Here's our battery pouch. Cut this piece of tape. It's annoying me. Okay. But yeah, kind of saving myself a lot of vacuuming up sawdust from not having to drill that end pin. So usually, if you have a shop vac, good, because you're going to be glad you do. Let's see. Block washers in there. Ooh. Pro tip time. Pro tip. A long Allen wrench or a long Phillips head screwdriver. It's good to use. You don't want to be too mean in it, but you just want to use it as a guide to help you slip it through. So we go through that hole, find it. Boom, voila, here we are. Washer, nut, and then a good old nut driver. It's awesome. 1/2 inch size. There we go. And then icing on the cake. A little really cool rustic brown LR bags. You really don't want that. I don't know if you can see it. There's too many threads. So the jack won't plug in all the way. So I'm going to have to remove it, expose more threads, push it through, and it's not a big deal. Expect a little bit of back and forth with this part of it because you want that to be flush, and you want, on this one I don't have a whole lot of tail block to go through, but if you're installing one of these on a guitar that has a thick tail block, you're gonna have to mess with this so you get it to the right thing, to where you want it flush with the edge of the wood. You want only the smaller threads sticking out, because you'll notice that you've got the 1/2 inch and then the 1/4 inch size. So you want just the thick 1/2 inch sticking right up to the wood, exposing all these threads. On this one I got a little bit, don't have so thick, but I have a little bit of a indent here, so and I might need to go ahead with my reamer. I actually need to ream it anyway, so good for you guys. You get to see a little bit of that action. Set-minded kill. And expect when you go through, you're gonna go through. Alrighty, so now we got that. Lost a washer in there. Alright, for this next part, you're going to need an 1/8 inch drill bit, and you're going to want to drill in, it could be either side. I like to do the bass side, but you know, not right in the corner, maybe just a touch over. Most guitars nowadays have a little spot already pre-marked. I'm gonna use a small drill. There we go. Sorry, using a bit that was slightly too big. That set of twist drills I have isn't in any particular order. This is a brad point drill, and it actually it's nice because it likes to find that point they already marked. Perfect. That is all set. So then you can skillfully clear your wires, uncross, untangle any wires you got. And you're going to take your pickup. In this case, it's this style, the little ribbon, and you're going to have to shove it up through the hole. So that was actually pretty quick. Dude, that's probably the hardest part of this whole job. Also, now that we're putting this pickup there, we're going to create some distance under the saddle, and it's going to raise the action. So what I typically do is I'll shave the action down. 2/32 of an inch is a fair bet, because it's going to raise about that. You can shoot a little slightly lower if you don't feel comfortable. I'm going to take 2/32 off though, and I'm going to take it to my disc grinder on the shed and grind this off, and then I'm going to clean it up on some, this is like 320 or something, and it's good to use a really flat surface. I have some pieces of aluminum block that are super flat that I use for fret dresses that sometimes I'll stick a heavier grit of sandpaper on, and then I'll use those. But that's what you want. You want to mark it on either side, throw a straight edge across, and give yourself a good line. And now what you could do if you don't have a disc sander, there's a piece of like 400. Essentially, you want to put the sandpaper on something flat, and then just sand it until you get to your line. And you want to check it every so often to make sure you're putting even pressure, because if you go a little bit cocked a certain way, it will sand a bevel. You need this to be as flat as you can, and so really try to apply even pressure and go slow. You know, if you've never done this before, it could be very nerve-wracking and kind of annoying, but trust me, if you don't do that right, you can get uneven sounds coming out of the amp. Whereas you have a very prominent high end but almost no low end, or a very prominent low end but no high end. So you want to make sure that you do that right. I'm going to go grind this down. I'll be right back. Alright, just got back. Remember, always wear your safety glasses and your dust mask. This is the RZ mask. I love it. Worth every bit of too much money. If you do a lot of woodworking or sawdust making, like I do, they're great. She's good to go. Alright. Of course, if you're unsure if it's straight, you could also use a thing and yep, right on the money. So I'm a badass. Okay. Here comes the easy part. Okay, so now we're gonna mount our volume and tone control, and I like to kind of feel around, try to find a good flat spot, give it a couple, kind of give it a test. Try to find the spot where it sits the most flat. There is braces you have to be cognizant of, and you want sticking out enough to where they can see it. So, I also like to add a little bit of super glue to that to help it stick, because this adhesive is not strong enough for it to stick into a guitar. So I gotta grab super glue. out the other day. Actually, didn't run out. What happens, the super glue, when it stays out in a hot shop like this, is it turns all jelly and gooey, which actually isn't super bad if you need that type of super glue. But it kind of doesn't stick as good either. It just kind of ruins it. I do like the Loctite gel control. If I can shout out a specific brand, the Loctite is my pretty much go-to brand of super glue. But the gel control is perfect for certain things. It's perfect for setting things like this. It's also, I love it for gluing in nuts, just like 3 dots. Oh, that's super glue. You're good to go. We're just kind of gonna play the clamp. There we go. I stuck that in a bad spot, but now it's in a good spot, and boom, voila, good to go. That's where you want it. Also, we have to figure out our battery box. Where'd that sucker go? There it is. Our battery pouch, so to speak. So the pouch needs to sit somewhere that's easy to get to, obviously, and you don't maybe want it right down in the sound hole, so it's the first thing people see. So you can put it behind. Gibson will put them on their neck block, which is cool. I like to go behind this brace. I don't like to cover up any kind of signage saying what the guitar is. I don't really like to put it there or too far down in there, but like right behind this brace right there is easy enough to grab, and it's a good spot. And you want to do the same thing. You want to pre-glue the sticky on it, because the adhesive, especially to have a 9-volt battery, it's pretty heavy on the pouch, and you don't, and what I'll just do like maybe 9 dots on it. It doesn't have to be super slathered. It does have adhesive on it already. You just want the super glue there for added strength. There we go. And make sure you could use the brace to line it up straight. So go a long ways with the brace. And then, I don't know if you guys know this about super glue, but it will glue itself shut. So if you pass a little air through the little nozzle, it's going to do wonders for your glue life, I swear to God. Alright, now we need a battery. I just happen to have a bunch. And in a second, I'm going to use these to route the wires. So the wires aren't noticeable in the sound hole, and they're not clacking around, creating all sorts of buzzing issues. Batteries installed, good to go. Now you got 2 wires. This had a pickup in it before, so I'm actually just going to reuse theirs. But typically what you want to do is you want to stick them in there, you want to clamp it, and then I like to give it a third and then bend, and that way, hopefully you can see it that way, it's never going to come off. Because if you just give it a half-assed one, they will come out. But with that extra bend on it, that is secured. That's not going anywhere. These are good to keep. They give you 3 of them. You might use all 3, but you might only need 2. I usually use 2, but I'm going to keep these. I've recently run out of my private stock. I've actually been keeping those for years. I've always had a bunch of them because like Fishman gives you a lot of them. They give you way more than you could possibly need, which is cool of them to do, but it's unnecessary. You don't need that many. You don't need more than 2 usually. What I have to do here is just find that. There you go. Voila. Seamless. No wires. You got this pickup wire, but you can't see it. And I could probably actually route that extra. Now test. Hear that? She works. Here's my tone. Here's my volume. Turned it all up. And we're all good now. The stringing part. Dude, we could double this video on how to string your guitar. Alright, I'm going to do that thing in a minute where it shows me working all super fast forwarded. But McGuire's car polish, number 6. That's what we use, guys. McGuire's is the bee's knees. Just a couple of small dollops. You don't need a lot of this stuff. This will last you years. It'll save you so much money. Guitar industry is going to kill me because I'm just letting y'all know all the shit, all the cool shit that you need to know. A cut up t-shirt, cotton. Keep your rags clean and free of debris, please. You don't want to drag a piece of wood chip or something across your nitrocellulose top. It's also really good as a metal polish. You need to clean your tuning machines or something. You know, it polishes the frets pretty good. These frets aren't that oxidized. If they were super oxidized, I would either use quadruple aught steel wool. The only bad thing about steel wool is it gets those shavings everywhere, so you have to be cognizant of that. They will fall in your sound hole if it's a electric guitar you're working on. Those shavings will magnetize to your pickups. So what you want to do is you want to put a piece of painter's tape on your pickups, and that way those shavings, they'll just stick to the tape, and then you peel the tape off carefully, throw it in the trash, and never to be seen again. Like Dave Chappelle said about the tall grass and the monkey, if you remember that one. And then I'm going to show you guys one string when I string it, and then that's all you get. This isn't really a video for restringing. Hopefully you guys know how to restring your guitars, but anyways, I might do a video about that at some point if that's something that interests somebody about restringing an acoustic guitar. It's pretty easy. If you can do this, you can definitely do that. In fact, if you can't do that, then you can't do this. End of it, you'll need strings. Okay, it's all clean. Also, size number 10 crescent wrench. Tighten these guys up, not too tight. You don't want to strip them, but these are great. My ebony's clean. I'm gonna give it a little blast of Kaiser lemon oil, and just use the old. You know what I'm saying? Rub it in. I went pretty liberal with it. I'm gonna wipe it off. Wipe off my extra. Then obviously re-wipe my finish because now I got Freaking lemon oil everywhere. Get a rag. I like to keep a whole heap of rags on stuff. I don't like to use the same rags on my fretboards as I do on my finish when it comes to the oil part, because I don't like oily rags as cleaner rags. I like oily rags as oily rags. And there you go. Voila. Smells awesome. It's like a piece of furniture if it could make music. Alrighty. Diodario. 80-20 bronze. 12s. Here we go. Also, guys, Diodario's cool because if you save your packs, you get codes and free stuff. I just found out about that. So, bend it right above the wraps. Bend it. Dig in hole. Drive down your thing. Bend it. Alright. String through the hole. Pull. Grab it like this. Go to the 7th fret. Boom. Drill attachment. Pull tight and let it wind under itself evenly. Got about 2 wraps on it. I like 2 wraps. On my G string, maybe I'll do 3 wraps because the G string on an acoustic guitar is the weakest because the core. Alright, as you can see, got her all installed. Sounds good too. Snub noodling. But yeah, came out great. Let's pick up the shit. Like and subscribe and comment and such.